The purpose of this video is to provide some insight into the budgeting process of School District Number 6 and your ability to provide input. The budgeting process is governed by the oversight and approval of the Board of Education. This is a continual process which involves planning and forecasting the annual budget, the amended budget, and the annual financial statements. The fiscal year of the district is July 1st to June 30th. Planning and forecasting involves a longer horizon of approximately 3 to 5 years and takes into account the strategic goals and directions of the district and the changes to enrollment estimates. Refer to the district's webpage for the current strategic plan and related financial documents. The annual budget process commences in February and must be submitted to the Ministry of Education and Child Care by June 30th of each year. Input is solicited from the stakeholders, and there are opportunities to provide written responses or present orally at the spring board meetings. The amended budget is finalized in the fall after actual enrollment numbers are confirmed and is due at the end of February. It should be noted that the district is required to submit a balanced annual and amended budget each year. Refer to Policy 3000 and District Practice 3000 for further information on budget development, monitoring, and reporting. The final component is the year-end financial statements, where actual results are reported against the budgeted. This process is completed over the summer months, and the audited financial statements are due by the end of September. The majority of the district's operating expenses are related to salaries, followed by dues and fees, transportation, insurance, and PD and travel, services and supplies, and utilities. The allocation of expenses by function are instruction, administration, operations and maintenance, and transportation. In February and March, the principals project their enrollment for the next school year. This involves rolling the current grades into the next year for existing students. Kindergarten is projected from early enrollment and historical rates. The class sizes are determined based on limits provided in the collective agreement. PVPs work with HR to determine class configuration and begin to build the division within the school. This process determines the number of classroom or regular instruction teachers required for the school. Depending on the size of the school or student cohorts, this could result in blended classes. There are district ratios, which must be met by non-enrolling teachers, which include learning services teachers, teacher librarians, counselors, and teachers of English language learners. In addition to overall enrollment, factors such as the number of students with diverse learning abilities or English language support requirements impact the school-specific staffing levels for these teachers. Based on the requirements of the School Act, the district must provide a spot to students in their catchment area if they arrive before September 29th of each year. The significance of this date is that the formal count for students is determined. A report referred to as the 1701, which determines the funding for students for the entire school year. Regular brick and mortar students may join or depart the district after this cutoff, and funding is not adjusted for these students. Additional online or continuing education students are captured in February and May counts, and funding is adjusted for these students, although the adjustment for these students is less than $100,000 of a $50 million plus operating budget. Education assistants and youth care workers are allocated to schools based on a needs assessment process. Not all students are eligible for funding, and the proportionate funding does not meet the need. This process considers input from the school-based teams, although a district-wide approach is followed to ensure a fair allocation of the supports. The funding for special education is determined at the September 29th count and also in February of each year. The funding is adjusted based on changes between the two counts. For school funding, each school is provided an amount per student ranging between $600 to $1,000, which is dependent on the size and grade configuration of the school. These costs are allocated to cover school support salaries, administrative assistants, library technicians or noon hour supervisors, employee replacement costs for absences and strategic initiatives, office, professional development, dues and fees, and supplies. The district is working with Indigenous rights holders to address historic educational inequalities for Indigenous students. The district is committed to moving along the path of truth and reconciliation in a meaningful way. Funding is provided for students with Indigenous heritage. The use of these funds are determined in consultation with our Indigenous and Métis partners. A key allocation of these funds goes to Indigenous support workers who work solely with the Indigenous students. Cultural events, supplies, and field trips are examples of other uses of these funds. District employees perform a majority of general maintenance on the facilities and grounds. Outside contracts will be required where specialty services are required or capacity does not permit. The maintenance department has 3 main communities: Golden, Invermere, and Kimberley. The positions in maintenance include custodians, Red Seal trades, and tradespeople. In addition to salaries, there are a number of large expenses in the maintenance budget, including utilities, insurance, cleaning supplies, building materials, dues and fees, vehicle and equipment fleet, and related repairs and maintenance. Parents or guardians submit requests for busing, and the Transportation Department prepares bus routes based on the policies and the district practices. Employees in transportation include bus drivers, mechanics, and crossing guards. In addition to salaries, the following are costs of the Transportation Department: fuel, insurance and parts, and repairs of the buses. The buses must reach a certain age or kilometer reading to be considered for replacement by the MECC. In a typical year, 1 to 2 buses will be replaced out of our fleet of approximately 20 buses. The district is required to fund the technology needs out of the operating budget. This includes everything from hardware for students and employees to the infrastructure and network security. Many competing interests and the goal of providing the best education experience for students requires a balance to ensure our systems are innovative, current, and secure while ensuring money is being prudently spent. The district receives funding outside of the regular block funding. Common special purpose fundings are classroom enhancement, community link funding, learning improvement funding, mental health grants, and early education. The funding sources need to be tracked separately, and the costs must be related to the criteria specified by the MECC. The special purpose funds typically relate to initiatives from the ministry that can span 1 to 3 years, although some can be ongoing where the initiative has not been rolled into the regular operating grant, with the focus to improve mental health or enhance student learning outcomes. The largest SPF is the Classroom Enhancement Fund at $3.5 million. This fund is related to restored language within a collective agreement related to class size limits and provides an additional 29 to 30 FTE for teachers each year. The district runs an international program whereby fees are charged to students from other countries. The students attend class in SD6 or one of its partner school districts. The students also pay homestay fees, which are paid to host families of the students. A part of the cultural experience for international students and the students of SD6, the program provides a financial benefit to the schools which have international students. In addition, the district is able to cost share some of the administrative functions within the district and use excess funds to support the strategic direction of the district. The MECC requires that a major and minor 5-year capital plan is provided on an annual basis. The minor capital plan includes larger projects such as roof replacement, boilers and heater systems, or electrical projects. In addition, this plan also supports replacement for buses and carbon-neutral capital plan. The major capital plan includes new or replacement schools. In addition, the district receives approximately $1 million, which is called the Annual Facility Grant. These funds are used to perform routine maintenance or smaller projects in the district. The district maintains a database for projects to be completed and prioritizes these based on safety and acceptable standards for our students and employees. With aging facilities, there is never enough funding to complete all of the required items. Local capital are funds which the district has allocated for future capital projects. These funds are allocated from operating funds and are typically related to projects that are 1 to 5 years in the future where multi-year planning is required. The strategic planning cycle is 4 years and typically aligns with the election of trustees. The plan is created and then reviewed on an annual basis. The strategic plan is woven through the entire budgeting process and communicated throughout the district. With the contractual requirements and collective agreement, ministry mandates, or other obligations of the district, the majority of the budget is allocated through the school staffing, maintenance, and transportation process. In a given year, there is approximately $400,000 to $800,000 of the $50 million plus budget that can be targeted towards meeting the goals of the strategic plan. Public consultation is an important component of the strategic plan, and this occurs during the spring of each year. The approval and oversight of the strategic plan is governed by the Board of Education. Operationalizing the plan is the responsibility of the superintendent through the employees of the district. We encourage you to review the most recent version of the strategic plan on the SD6 website. Your input is valuable to the future planning and success of the district.